writer, William Somerset Maugham, once said, "Spain, that is the country where you'll find the strangest stories."
He was right. Our lives are often changed by accidental encounters, for random moments forever trapped in amber. When I left Minnesota in the summer of 1969, I was flirting with a failure at college and felt the threat of the draft and Vietnam War closing in on me, and I thought Europe might be my refuge. And it was on the island of Ibiza where I first met Elmyr de Hory. He was sophisticated, charismatic, and I quickly fell under his spell and into his Lewis Carroll-like world of illusion and pretense. Now, I didn't know it at the time, but international press reports had dubbed him the world's greatest art forger. A criminal, a talented scoundrel, or iconoclast hero, depending on your point of view. But this was the 60s. This was a time when rebels were heroes and we challenged everything. When he offered me a job as his personal assistant, I had no idea that he'd become my closest friend and mentor, or that it would lead me here to a courtroom in Spain where judges would decide Elmyr's fate. The hearing happened on the morning of December 7th, and all morning FDR's famous words kept ringing through my head. A day that will live in infamy.
I still have order! Counselors, I have told you repeatedly, this is a hearing, not a trial. You can see there is no jury here, so there is no need to pontificate. Save your sermons for Sunday morning. The judges before you are qualified to impartially evaluate this case. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Good. Then you may continue. Senor Perrera.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I was saying, the charges against my client, on which this hearing is predicated, are groundless, based on accusations of a known criminal, convicted of possessing counterfeit custom stamps, and incarcerated in a hospital criminally. Furthermore, Interpol had issued international arrest warrants against him for crimes committed in the United States, France, Switzerland, and Brazil.
You're grandstanding again, Counselor.
The instigator of these proceedings is simply attempting to manipulate and pervert the integrity of the
By
court.
instigators, you mean the French Ministry of Justice?
If the French government had any legitimate claim against my client, they would have made it 9 years ago. No, this travesty was concocted by Senor de Hory's former associate for the purposes of publicly humiliating. Please do not permit bureaucratic procedure to take precedence over justice.
Thank you, Senor Perrera. Signora Delgado, do you have any final
Yes,
remarks?
thank you, Your Honor. I would like to reiterate for the court one more time. Senor de Hory's guilt or innocence is outside the scope of these proceedings. We need only determine whether the extradition demand conforms with the extradition treaty between France and Spain. That is our sole purpose. And we are compelled as signatories to comply with this official request from the French government. Your Honor.
Yes, you have made that abundantly clear. Thank you, everyone. I think we've heard enough testimony. We will make our final ruling within the week and contact you once we do.
We're adjourned.
Well, there you have it. Elmyr's fate now rests on the wording of the treaty. He's also aware of his ex-partner's role in this drama and persistence, a trait in which they both profited during their tortured alliance. It was in 1958 when Elmyr first met this man who would change the course of his life. He was living in New York City, and his high society friends would flock to this urban charmer and collector of fine art, of which there seemed to be an endless supply.
Do you remember that interesting exhibition we saw yesterday of abstract expressionists? I love their honest simplicity. There was one particular painting that was fantastic. It was an enormous canvas with a large red ball on a black background. It moved me. The technical virtuosity was incredible. Can you imagine how hard it is to draw a huge circle freehand?
What I enjoyed was the obvious symbolism of the piece. Clearly, the big red ball represented size on a black background.
on a square canvas, which represented the conflict between the ideal and our struggle with harsh reality. Which reminds me, they're raising our rent at Waldorf again, as if we don't pay enough already.
Say, have either of you read the new novella by this Truman Capote fellow?
Do you mean Breakfast at Tiffany?
Yes, that's the one.
Well, I wasn't impressed. His protagonist is nothing more than a petty slut.
I had heard it was well reviewed.
Well, if you ask me, Truman Capote will never amount to much as a writer.
Well, we'll see. His epitaph may be more generous, especially if he writes. Valerie, you are looking great.
Thank you.
I hope you're all enjoying yourselves. There's plenty of food for everyone, and you must try the salmon pate. It's absolutely delicious.
Thank you, Elmyr. We will.
I started out buying what I liked, mostly paintings of horses, cowboys with spurs. Well, then I found this picture of a big Indian squaw bathing in a river. That's when my interest in art really took off. I gotta tell you, Algerines Meadows, Mr. Hory, it's a pleasure to meet you, sir. A genuine pleasure. I'm a friend of the Hawthornes.
How do you do?
You know, my cousin in Paris knows a whole lot more about modern art than I do. He got quite excited when I told him about you and your collection.
You have a cousin living in Paris? Oh, the city of light.
Well, I reckon. Well, he's been there his whole life as a hog farm with a few thousand head.
Hog farm in Paris?
Yup, and he knows everybody in Paris.
He can't possibly know everyone. And the French may love pork, but I get to see pigs strolling under the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, who's talking about France? I mean Paris, Texas. Anyway, he says this Mo Digliani fella is famous, but I just don't understand why he didn't paint the eyes in this poor woman. If the eyes are supposed to be the windows to the soul, he's got them shutters closed.
Excuse me just for 1 moment.
Go right ahead.
Who is that, and why did you bring him here? Good God, Corcos, he stinks. The only thing that you smell that bad is good cheese.
I didn't know what to do. He's just off the boat from Egypt, a relative of an acquaintance who asked me to help him out. And frankly, I don't know how to get rid of him. But he's friendly, and he just needs a place to stay. You know it wouldn't be possible to put him up in my place. I thought perhaps he could sleep on your sofa.
Are you out of your mind? He obviously hasn't bathed since he left Egypt, and his suit doubles as his pajamas. Wait, oh, please, Colby, get him out of here before my guests all flee. You'll start a stampede. Oh, look. I know what it is to need help. Here, take this. It's enough for a room at the YMCA for a week, but you can't stay here.
A few months after he met Fernand Legros, Elmyr took an overdose of sleeping pills, but was rescued before it was too late. He was tired of living his life on the run, evading detection, not to mention the spirit-crushing hopelessness of every failed attempt to sell his own work. After his suicide attempt, Elmyr caught pneumonia, lost 30 pounds, and was in terrible shape. His friends rallied around him, but it was Dr. Corcos who remained as Elmyr's primary caregiver. That is until Corcos saw Fernand Legros' unexpected return presented a unique opportunity.
Corcos, what's taking so long?
Listen, Elmyr, I've been thinking. The weather in Florida would be much better for your health. You could use my apartment while you're there. You could even borrow my Cadillac and drive down.
Drive? I don't have the strength for that. I can barely dress myself. Besides, you can't afford to be gone from your clinic for that long.
Me? Oh, no, I'm not going. But I know someone who could help. You remember that young man I brought to your apartment, Murray Hill, Fernand Legros?
You mean that smelly, badly dressed disaster?
He will bathe regularly, I promise. He just needs a break. The two of you, he could let him stay on your sofa for a couple of days, and then he could drive you down to Florida. The two of you could stay there until you're well enough to drive yourself back. Really, he's not that bad. He's intelligent, and he's willing to do anything you want, anything at all. He just needs a break. The two of you could help each other out until you don't need him any longer. Besides, it's nice.
Nice? What does that mean? You wouldn't be on my dining room table? Where's he staying?
Hello, Elmyr! Oh, nice to see you again. I brought you a gift.
Property of the shipping line. Well, I'd like to thank you and the crew for your generosity.
Elmyr could not foresee the consequences of this encounter, but later we would feel the impact of Fernand Legros upon our lives. On our flight home to Ibiza, my thoughts drifted back to the hearing. Elmyr's escape seemed so narrow you could have sucked the tomes of Spanish law through a straw, and yet I remained confident that Legros' crusade to exact revenge on Elmyr would come to nothing. Senor Perrera was very persuasive in diffusing the allegations against you and exposing them as a complete sham. Still, I can't believe that they were more concerned with the paperwork being in order than the absurdity of the extradition demand. It's as if justice has no place in a courtroom.
I've always appreciated your optimism, and I hope you never change. But I'm afraid justice is just an illusion. And expectations of fairness, well, as they say, expectations are just premeditated disappointments. If I didn't know Fernand Legros as well as I do, I wouldn't feel so pessimistic.
Well, remember, he tried this ploy twice before and didn't succeed.
Setbacks never deter zealots intent on destroying their enemies. And this hearing was orchestrated by a man bent on destroying me. Oh, what was my crime? What did I do to deserve this?
The problem was getting mixed up with Fernand Legros in the first place.
Oh, don't you think I know that? I knew he was someone I would never invite to my dinner table when I first met him, but later, I needed him. Aren't all relationships based on me? If I hadn't needed you when we first met, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. You know, Elmyr, when you first took a chance on me, 7 years ago when you offered me that job, I needed you too. Remember the first day I came in and I helped you move your artwork and furniture around, and I came across a magazine article, the one that said, "The world's greatest art forger"? Well, that took some explaining, but we worked it out. I know you didn't choose this as a career path. You were a refugee. You were trying to survive.
Oh, my whole bloody life has been a struggle. Never mind my being famously infamous for my art. My life has always been at risk because of who I was. My parents knew before I did that I was different. I don't think they could ever accept me for who I really was. No, I don't think so.
That may be so, but I know the real Elmyr, and you are kind and generous, and that's why you helped Fernand Legros. You helped him save him from a life as a dancer in sleazy cabarets.
Still, he was always able to seduce me with his lies and promises even when I knew better. Oh, I must be the world's stupidest person. I never should have told him my little secret on that drive to Miami. It was the worst decision I ever made. Well, you've been here for 2 weeks. I think I'm feeling well enough to make it on my own.
What do you mean?
I mean, I no longer need your help. Besides, I can't afford to continue supporting you. I've been paying for everything and I'm almost broke.
Well, what are we going to do?
There is no we. You can go out and find a job and pay for your own room.
Elmyr, why don't you do some small Picasso drawings for me to sell? We could live for a couple months off of just one.
Oh, I was crazy to ever confide in you. I was stupid. I was delirious. What was I thinking? No one would ever believe you are the owner of a finger painting, let alone a Picasso. Absolutely not. You don't know the first thing about art. It would never work.
Please, Elmyr, you have this incredible talent. We don't need to starve. Besides, you said you never really liked to sell because it always made you so nervous. Well, listen, my friend. I know these people. I know their game. It's just business. I grew up in the souk in Cairo. I know these people. That's my talent. Just tell me what to say. I promise. This will work. I won't disappoint you. You'll see.
All right, you made your point. You can stop cajoling. Now, I'm going to come up with a story and you're going to say exactly what I tell you. You don't change anything, you understand? Now, when the diva asks where you acquired this drawing, say you inherited them from your great auntie.
Oh, fuck someone to get them.
No! You don't know where she got them, but they've been in your family for years. Now, you're going to have 2 Picassos, which I will do right now. Do you think you can remember your story?
Yes.
Good. Just one more thing. You'll never be a gentleman, but you can't smell like a bum. Take a bath, shave, put on clean socks, and wear one of my jackets and ties.
They agreed that Legros would receive 25% of any sale made that day. Then, Elmyr waited, and despite his considerable reservations, something remarkable happened.
God bless America! Oh,
It worked!
yeah! You cannot believe how easy it was. Oh, I did exactly as you told me, and you should have seen the greed in his eyes. Oh, I knew I should have asked for more than you wanted.
No, he knew he was getting something he could sell tomorrow at a sizable markup, and I was almost broke. How much did you get?
Now that you've seen I can do this, don't you agree that I deserve more than that 25% commission you promised me? I think 35% is more fair, don't you, mon cher? Elmyr, you should do some paintings. Those would fetch more. You could do one of your Modiglianis and a Matisse. Think about how much we could get for those. There are chickens waiting to be plucked, my friend. And I plan to be the mother of all pluckers.
Legros' first 2 sales of the Picasso drawings in Miami did start something big, and neither of them knew where it would be. From city to city, they replicated Henry Ford's assembly line, churning out saleable masterpieces. By the time they reached Los Angeles, Elmyr was certain of one thing. His young partner was intent on getting rich. Even though Legros was successful in selling all of Elmyr's fakes, Elmyr suspected he wasn't getting his full share of the money, so he would occasionally venture out on his own.
You have a very good collection of impressionist art in your gallery.
Why, thank you. We're one of the oldest galleries on the West Coast and specialize in European modern masters. Is there something I can help you with?
Well, I was wondering if you might be interested in this. I inherited from my great-aunt in Paris who traded something for it.
It appears to be a little Cézanne drawing. It's not significant. We only deal in oil paintings and portrait works. I'm not interested. But my wife collects little portraits. I could call her and see if she's interested. Wait here. So, how much are you looking to get for it?
800?
No, sorry, I'm not really interested.
Well, what would you offer?
I'll give you 500.
Is that in cash?
400 and yes, cash.
Hello, Elmyr. How was your day?
Fine, thank you.
You've been shopping.
Well,
Say, Elmyr, I was wondering if you could help me with something. While you were out, I was looking for the Cézanne drawing, and I could not find it anywhere. In fact, the whole portfolio was missing.
well, it must be in there someplace. If you let me...
And then I started to think, could he be selling things behind my back? But I said, no, not my friend Elmyr. He would never go behind my back. Isn't that right, mon cher? How lovely! So, my friend, what's in the other bag? A portfolio, perchance? Does this mean I can't trust my partner anymore? Tell me, Elmyr, where did you get the extra money? Let me guess! You sold Sogard.
Yes, all right, I sold it, but I didn't get much for it.
You promised me that you would let me do the selling. Besides, you never asked for enough. These dealers, they're just dishonest and cheap. I know these mangy dogs. Remember, I grew up in Egypt. I've seen every trick these merchants used to screw you. How much did he pay you?
Well,
How much did he pay you?
$400.
Elmyr! Well, that's why he needs me. That's why you need me. Elmyr, I must be twice that. I am the only one who has the best interests at heart. We had a gentleman's agreement. I expected more integrity from you. Friends don't steal from friends. Oh, treachery and deceit!
That's be reasonable.
Well, you stole money from me! He stole money from me! Please, please, Elmyr. Please promise me you'll let me do the selling from now on.
Yes, fine. Whatever you say.
What are you staring at? Show's over. Oh, piss off! Good. That's settled. Now, you owe me $400.
$400 for what?
But I told you I could have gotten at least $800 from the Sazan. My cut would have been half.
But we agreed you would get 35% of the sale price.
Before you were so naughty and needed to regain my trust. Besides, a 50-50 partnership is only fair. We've had success everywhere we've been, thanks to me.
All right, 50-50.
Good. So from now on, there is total honesty between us. No secrets.
You're right. Honesty is the best policy.
Here,
What's this?
a fake passport. You are now officially Canada's newest citizen.
Where did you get this?
My contact in Montreal, there was a small problem. It was slightly more expensive than we thought.
How much?
Just $1,500.
What?
Elmyr, think of it as an investment. You will slide past customs like the king of Sheba. So, my friend, where do you want to go?
Paris. I want to go back to Paris.
Yes, you're brilliant! I love Paris in the springtime. We'll return like Napoleon and whoever was second in charge. But first, Elmyr, we should visit those vultures over on 57th Street and lighten their wallets. God, I love New York. It is full of suckers. Elmyr, it's time we pass the collection plate.
It had been 3 days since the hearing in Mallorca, and still no word from Elmyr's lawyers. I struggled to comfort him. Here, this is for you.
Why? It's the catalog to the opening of my gallery. Where on earth did you find
I
it?
kept it and just had it framed. Do you remember that day?
Well, yes, of course. It seems like a long time ago now.
No, not so long. It was one of the happiest days of my life. Think about it often.
What I remember the most about that day is how proud I was of you.
Oh, well, I didn't think you were going to make me the director of the gallery. I just thought I would help you out. And no one has ever shown me that degree of confidence and support before. I never want to let you down.
And you never have.
Senor Perrera, have the judges made a ruling yet?
I'm afraid not. I'm here to see Senor de Hory on another matter.
Ah, Cesar, please come in.
Hello, Elmyr. How are you both holding up?
Oh, we're fine. And you?
We are hopeful, of course, that the judges will reject this insane demand and rule in your favor as they have before.
Well, I want to thank you for everything that you've done. Do you have everything ready?
Yes, of course.
Good, let's start. Now, tell me, where do I sign?
Elmyr, what's going on here?
Oh, didn't I tell you? I'm making you my heir.
It was good to see you, Elmyr. I'll call you Saturday morning. I should have some news by then.
Well, whatever the outcome, I thank you for everything, Sara.
Yes.
Mark, would you come here for a moment? I was going through my papers and I came across this. I don't think you've seen it before.
What's this?
Oh, just a letter. Former boyfriend Fernand sent it to me a while ago. He provides some insight into Legros' true nature. Go ahead, read it.
My dear Elmyr, you might be interested to know how that son of a bitch, Fernand Legros, started his gallery in Paris. It all began with a large trunk you left on consignment at the Winslow Hotel in New York. Legros told me that after he sold you a passport and you returned to Europe, he wasted no time.
Hello, yes, this is Mr. de Hory. I left a trunk with you on consignment. It's still there, isn't it? Good. I'm having a friend collect it for me, Mr. Fernand Legros. Well, what does he look like? Well, a distinguished man, handsome. He'll have a letter from me in identification. When he arrives, I'd like you to give him the trunk. Thank you.
Jumping on the next flight to New York City, Fernand went immediately to the Winslow Hotel, where he presented the hotel director with a forged letter instructing him to retrieve the trunk belonging to Mr. Elmyr de Hory and deliver it to the room of Mr. Fernand Legros. But he didn't have a key for the lock.
I don't understand. Fernand is not the kind of person who lets some mechanical inconvenience get between him and what he wants. And I'm sure the letter was very convincing because the hotel director gave it the trunk.
Yes, room service. I'd like some tea, a croissant, and a very large, sharp knife. Because I'm blind and your miserable croissants are as hard as wood. What took you so long? I'm rich.
There's more.
Once Fernand got his hands on your treasure trove of art, there was no stopping him.
Hello? Why, yes, he is. One moment, please.
No, I told you. You can't have the Picassos because I sold them to someone else. I told you. You can have the two Cezannes. My price is firm, my friend. I have many buyers. No, you come to me because you know that I only deal in the highest quality pictures. Those other dealers have only crap. Claude, what time is it?
It's 11:05.
Pretentious bastard is late. Go see what's keeping him. Monsieur, please. Make yourself comfortable. Thank you for joining me. I know that you're an authority on Renoir. I have a Renoir painting that I'd like you to look at. No doubt it's authentic, but a certificate of authenticity from you would be most helpful.
You found a painting I've never seen.
Well, I do know your reputation for integrity. You are the greatest living expert on Renoir.
I'll prepare your certificate. You'll have it this week. And congratulations on finding this beautiful painting.
Thank you for your gracious assistance. And my experts only find exceptional pieces, and I hope that I can count on your valuable expertise in the future. My assistant will show you out. Yes, Mr. Meadows, it's Fernand Legros calling from Paris. I have some good news. No, not Paris, Texas. Paris, France. I've just acquired a superb Renoir that I just know you'll love. And let me tell you, at $80,000, it is a steal. Yes, of course I'll send photos. Good night.
When Elmyr returned to Paris, he had no intention of reuniting with Legros and knew nothing of the source of Legros' thriving business, nor did he think that their paths would cross again.
C'est pas possible! Elmyr! Oh, mon cher! I was so worried something bad happened to you when you never showed up to our rendezvous. I was afraid you had fallen into the hands of the gendarmes. Thank God you're safe and... Oh, look well.
Well, I appreciate your concern. You appear to prosper.
But may I join you?
Only your pay.
Elmyr, where are you living now?
Madrid.
Ah, but you're in Paris. Are you still painting?
Oh, no, I haven't painted a thing since I left the States.
Elmyr, you are such a liar. That's true, mon cher. I am doing well, and I owe it all to you. I'm selling real art now, but I don't think any of it's as good as yours. Elmyr, you could have been a part of my success. You know, I never had the knowledge that you have. I know that, but what I understand is human nature. My clients, they feel privileged to buy art from me. And when you were selling art, they could smell your desperation, and the sleazy bastards would take advantage of you every time. Work with me again, Elmyr. I will write you a check for $1,000 right now. Consider it an advance on future sales. You can just do what you do best, and I'll do what I do best. I have a client coming tomorrow, and I just know that if I had a small Renoir or Modigliani, he would just buy it immediately. But let me take you out for a nice lobster dinner, and we can discuss the details.
You could almost hear the snake charmer's flute luring Elmyr back into the fold, and he couldn't resist Legros' powers of persuasion. Soon Elmyr began fabricating pieces once more, this time tailored to Legros' wishes. Over time, Legros made a fortune. Elmyr, he made less. Over the next 6 years, Legros sold Elmyr's fakes on 5 continents. Then everything began to unravel one evening in Dallas. Elmyr's old clients, Elmyr Meadows, had endowed a Texas university with Spanish master's paintings, which he later learned were mostly fakes. Then he decided to collect French modern masters, and Legros convinced him that he was the best person to help him do that. Meadows wanted to show off his art, so he invited a number of experts to assess the collection.
Thank you all for coming. It's my pleasure to have so many experts on modern art together at one time. I've been collecting works by some of the world's greatest artists, and it is my honor to unveil the entire collection for the first time. We're proud of you.
Mr. Meadows, I know you asked for our opinions on your collection. Would you like those in writing or an oral assessment now?
Please, I'd like to know what you think now. Absolutely.
Il will be candide and honest in our judgment.
I wouldn't have it any other way. A real beaut ain't chic.
When I look at this Modigliani portrait, it just doesn't seem right. I don't think he would have drawn a line like that.
Yes, sir. Bertie's a picture. What did you say?
I agree. And mon Dieu, this Matisse, it's the colors.
What about the colors?
They are not what I associate with Matisse. I think it's wrong.
Wrong? What do you mean it's wrong?
I've been an agent for Picasso for over 20 years, and while this cubist work might fool anyone unfamiliar with Picasso's work, I think it's an out-and-out fake.
Oh, no, not again.
Perhaps my colleagues are differing opinions. But from looking around, I think the entire collection is doubtful. And I've been generous. Where did you get all of this?
Well, from someone who's about to make the acquaintance of the Dallas Chief of Police.
How could I have been so stupid to let you talk me into your crazy scheme? It's your greed that's got me into this. Now Interpol is after me because of you. Maybe you can easily manipulate that golden egg-laying Hungarian goose, but I'm sure he knew this plan out of madness.
Well, never mind. Now you're going to help me or you're going to be as useless to me as that gypsy is. Don't forget who paid for those clothes you wear. And even that little rat dog of yours who shits on the carpet while you're out trying to pick up female impersonators on the Place Macau. Elmyr! Oh, mon cher! How are you? I was just thinking of you.
Fernand, the last check you sent me was no good.
Mais no! They're all good. But there is a slight problem. A client of mine in Texas said he's had some experts look at the beautiful pictures I sold him.
What do you mean? How many pictures are we talking about?
Well, 30, maybe 40, I don't know. He says he won't prosecute if I pay him back the money.
I told you never to sell that many pieces to one client. What could you be thinking?
Now, don't worry about him. He's thousands of miles away. Besides, he never paid what the pictures are worth, even if they weren't authentic. So screw him. Elmyr, I'll send you a new check in the mail, okay? You have nothing to worry about. Sleep well, my friend.
Maybe you should tell Elmyr where all this money is really gone. You know more young boys than a choir director. Oh, and let's not forget about all the fur coats and jewelry for that mustached mother of yours, the patron saint of monkeys and whores.
Apologize!
No!
You will! Okay!
I apologize. We should get out of here before the police arrive.
The Meadows debacle exposed Elmyr and ended the partnership between him and Legros. Elmyr was never prosecuted for his fakes because he had no reliable witness to build the case against him. Legros fled to Switzerland, where he was soon a guest in a hospital for the criminally insane. That's when Elmyr and I flew to Geneva, and we thought there was no way that Legros could cause any problems. Who are you calling?
Oh, a Swiss television station. They left a message for me at the front desk. Monsieur Gaspard, this is Elmyr de Hory. I received a message you called.
Yes, I'm a channel producer with Channel 3. I was hoping to do an interview with you.
How did you know I was here?
Oh, our colleague recognized you at the airport. Everyone's familiar with your story. We'd like to be the first television channel to interview you. We're prepared to offer as much as $3,000.
They say they'll pay $3,000 for an interview. Wow. Well, that's a very interesting proposition. I'll have to think it over.
I assure you, it would not take more than a couple hours of your time.
They say it will only take a couple of hours.
No, you can't do it.
Well, I'm flattered by your offer, but I really don't have the time right now. I'm sorry. Goodbye.
You won't do it.
Yes, it is easy money, but we agreed that our visit should be as discreet as possible. If Legros finds out we're here, there's no telling what trouble he might cause, even if he is in the nut house.
Well, you're right. We don't want to take any unnecessary chances. Ursula, there you are, my dear. You are looking lovely.
No, I know, darling. Now, I'm sorry, Elmyr, but I've had some bad news. I've heard Fernand Legros has been released. His lawyers claimed he was allergic to prison. Do promise me you'll be careful while you're here.
Always It's all right, my dear. He has no idea we're here in Geneva.
Monsieur de Hory, please come with me.
What's this about? I've done nothing.
I have summoned you here to get to the bottom of this matter, which I owe to you, Monsieur Legros. According to your complaint, you have accused Monsieur de Hory of making death threats against you. Is that correct, sir?
Well, it's the absolute truth. Why would I lie?
Monsieur Legros, these death threats, what makes you certain they came from Monsieur de Hory?
I recognize his Austro-Hungarian accent. Besides, he made repeated calls to my home.
What exactly did he say?
He said that if I didn't bring exactly $100,000 to the lobby of the Hotel de Rome at exactly 1 o'clock, he would have me killed.
And when did he make these phone calls?
Sometime between 1 and 5 in the morning.
Between 1 and 5 is a very long time. Don't you ever look at your watch?
Well, when I want to know the time, I just hold my arm out to my servants read it to me. What else should one have servants for? Besides, my psychiatrist has me on sleeping pills.
We have the phone records, and Monsieur de Hory made no phone calls from his hotel room during those hours. We know all about your schemes, Monsieur Legros. We know about them and your association with criminals. The police have been watching you for some time. Now, about those thugs you hired and the house you rented where you attempted to lure Monsieur de Hory.
Well, I only wanted him to stop harassing me.
Mr. Legros, if you tell one more lie, whether you're going to jail. It's clear to me that you are wasting this court's time. I've had enough of you. How did you ever secure your release from the sanatorium?
Good behavior.
Oh, get it now. Monsieur de Hory, we never believed his wild accusations and only took you into custody for your own protection. However, you should still be careful. You may leave through my chambers.
Thank you. I've never had the law on my side before.
Good luck.
See, I told you.
Rome was crazier than we imagined, and thought it best to return to Abitha, Elmyr's sanctuary.
I'm sorry, I must run. Do call me if you come across any more small treasures. You can always reach me at the meets. Thank you, my dear. You've made me a very happy woman. Perhaps not so happy as they are.
They're very patriotic. Still celebrating the liberation of Paris. Vive France! Vive France!
We should all sing the Marseillaise. See you soon, I hope.
Au revoir, my chérie.
There you are. I have been looking all over for you. Is everything okay?
Is this what it's all about? Money? Having your life in the hands of someone else? What was my crime? Trying to survive the only way I knew how. In my art. What I got for it was a token. All the big money was made by the dealers and the people resold them. And Legros. If I'd never let him sleep on my sofa, maybe none of this would have ever happened. Is this my reward for some random act of kindness?
Everyone makes errors of misplaced trust. You're just more trusting than anyone else I've ever met. Legros, he saw that as a weakness and decided to exploit it, but even though you had an awful experience with him, you never became a cynic about people. And I love that about you. You need only to look back less than 4 weeks ago. You had the most important exhibition of your life in Madrid. And the whole city came. Members of the Spanish royal family came to pay homage to you. You remember when you said I needed to learn something about court etiquette, you said, Mark, whenever you meet a woman, you should bend gracefully from the waist and pretend to kiss her hand. The night of your Madrid exhibition, I needed that finishing school education with all of those women who looked like they'd come from a jewelry heist and the man who smelled the fresh money.
I remember when I first tried to teach you, you looked like you were bobbing for apples. Now, you're a perfect gentleman.
All because of you. Listen to me. Everything is going to be fine. Elmyr? Do you know what I would like more than anything right now?
What's that?
I would like for you to make good on your promise.
What?
Don't you remember? You said you'd paint my portrait.
Oh, yes. Of course, I'm sorry. I've been so distracted. Oh, all right then.
You used to be so secretive about this room. You'd only let me come in here when you wanted me to model.
I was reading Time magazine yesterday that someone paid more than $1 million for a painting by Jackson Pollock. How could people be so stupid to pay that for something that looks like a two-dimensional food fight? What are people clamoring for? Paint dribblings? This visual anarchy. Talk about pretentious nonsense. Don't people understand that these values are contrived by the dealers? It's more about gamesmanship than it is about talent. There's so much artifice in the art world, and not just because of me. I'm as much a victim here. Isn't the real scandal the art market itself? They call me a scoundrel, a criminal. I'm an artist, an interpreter. As you love Bach through Rubinstein, you can love Matisse through me. But Jackson Pollock? At least my work is recognized. I mean, really, why would anyone prefer a bad original to a good fake?
Well, it's different now. Look at all the people who were coming to your door, and they're not the police. The people are recognizing you for your true talent. Okay, so it's been a long time coming, but Remember what Jesus said about casting the first stone? So screw him. Okay, well, you didn't say that last part. I agree with you. You know, Elmyr, when I couldn't find you this morning, I thought that... Did you get any sleep last night?
I was dreaming of Paris after the war when I sold my first Picasso. You know, I never felt good about deceiving anyone. I just wanted to sell my own work. It's just that when I realized I could make something that I could create in 20 minutes that would guarantee my survival for the next few months, well, I'd like to see the poor refugee who could resist that temptation. It's a choice I made. But for most of my life, it looked as though it were the only option I had to survive. Maybe the faking was wrong. But what's the difference between my work and the others? What, the fashionable signature? You tell me what a Jackson Pollock would fetch without his signature attached. There's the acid test. Would they praise his work then?
Hello, this is Mark. They said they have no choice. They have to accede to the extradition demand.
It's okay, Mom.
No. No.
I have a feeling. Now, listen to me. I have a list of things I need for you to do. I've written letters to all my friends, and I want you to give them to everyone.
No. No, now is not the time to surrender. You have survived the Nazis and the Russians in internment camps and torture and being a refugee. The personal rejection. You'll survive these plots of Fernand Legros, too.
I'm sorry for these responsibilities, but I know I can trust you to carry out my wishes. Now, I have very little time.
You're right. You're right. We do have very little time. You said that we have fake passports. Well, we can take them to Morocco. We can fight the extradition from another country.
Sorry.
You know the success of your exhibition in Madrid? That is the sort of success that you have been wanting your entire life, to be accepted as an artist in your own right. God damn it, aren't you willing to fight for that?
I could not bear the infamy of being hunted down by a pack of wild dogs. To be arrested, to be carried away in chains. No, I can't, I won't.
Elmyr, aren't you willing to fight for me?
Mark, I never told you this. But one day when we weren't here, a stranger came to this house. He told me that Fernand Legros had put out a contract out on me. If I ever went to jail in France, I'd be killed. Don't you see, Mark? This is the real reason for the extradition he and his lawyers orchestrated. Fernand Legros wants to kill me.
Why are you saying this? Why are you saying
I'm
this?
saying I will not run. I will not give Fernand Legros satisfaction. I will not be murdered in a French prison. Remember what Nietzsche said? We can always exit when we want. Now I have to go.
No. No, Elmyr, no, please don't. No, I love you. Stay with me.
Please don't come with me. Don't make this any harder than it already is.
No! Elmyr, no! Stop! Jesus. Jesus Christ. What do I do? What do I do? fell on open umbrellas. News always traveled fast on the island. Familiar faces lined the cemetery. Before the burial, I received an official request from the French government. They wanted to have the body fingerprinted to make sure it was Elmyr. After all, if anyone could fake his own death, it would be Elmyr, right? I couldn't bear witnessing this last indignation. No one close to me had died before Elmyr, so I guess my lessons in Abitho weren't overlearned yet. Learning what it is to lose someone you love must be the hardest thing to learn. Legros' apparent victory was short-lived. He died 7 years later from cancer in 1983. I returned to Minnesota, drank wine, I wore ascots, and I recounted stories few, I think, believed. For a long time, I thought that Elmyr would be hugely disappointed in me. But that is until years later, when I rediscovered my old diaries. I knew then the path I had to follow. So I took the easy way out. I became a writer. I dedicated my first book to him. It's about a remarkable man and an amazing adventure. And I'm thinking of turning it into a play.